Hi gang, we're going to do 8.3, which is complex fractions. Now a complex fraction is when you have a fraction within a fraction. So if you notice, there's like a big fraction here, there's a big one, sort of like the forest, and then the individual trees. So there's like a little subset fraction here and a subset fraction here. So again, there's one big fraction where this whole thing is the numerator and this whole thing is the denominator, and then there's these little subset fractions, okay? Now, these cannot be done in any order. They cannot be done in any order. This one's already halfway done, so the first step is actually to make the numerator one fraction and the denominator one fraction, and that's already happened here. So if you'll notice in other examples I have, the numerator, denominator, or both might not be one whole fraction. So step one is to get a fraction, one fraction over one fraction. And once you have that, you can convert it, because the idea is that it's this fraction divided by this fraction. So you'll notice that 8.3 is a combination of 8.1 and 8.2. All right, so then it's going to very quickly break down into what we did in 8.1, and it's nothing new now. So it looks really nasty, but it's all bark, it's no bite. So already now this is what we learned in 8.1, and there's nothing new at this point, right? So it's the top fraction divided by the bottom fraction. But let's finish the problem. So I'm going to convert it into multiplication. Right, I'm converting it into multiplication. I'm flipping this side. I'm now going to factor. I'm going to take out a common factor in the numerator. All right, and now I'm going to reduce anything I can. So I can do an n plus 9. I can take one n from here and one n from here. And so what I have left is the 6, the 2, the n minus 9, and the n. All right, 6 times 2, so now you multiply across. 6 times 2 is 12. And we're left with an n and an n minus 9. Okay, and that's the answer to that one. All right, so let's do one that has more steps to it. So the thing is that you cannot convert it to division until it's one fraction over one fraction. And if you notice, there's two fractions. There's two fractions here, so I can't flip this yet. You have to sort of see this as like nested parentheses. You have to do this first. So I have to subtract these fractions. So I need an LCD, which would be AB. So I'm going to give a B to both sides here and A to both sides here. So that gives me 4b minus a squared over ab. Now one thing you're going to notice about this section is some of these answers look so bizarre. You think you did something wrong, but you didn't, okay? So now that I have one fraction over one fraction, I can now do the dividing. Some people convert it right to multiplication, which is fine. Okay, so that's where I put this. All right, now I'm going to reduce. All right, if you saw me pause there, what my brain just did is I was like, can I factor this? And can I factor anything here? And my brain said no. So now I'm just going to reduce. So I'm going to take 1a with 1a, 1b with 1b, and then we're left with all this stuff. We're left with this, we're left with this, we're left with this. So it's 8 over ab times 4b minus a squared. It's not wrong if you distribute that in, but it's really, this is the final format, and it looks really weird and awkward, but it's actually the right answer. So just when you're doing this section, don't feel like every other problem you did it wrong. You did it right. It's just the answers look funky. Alright, so let's do one that's like the test level. I've been sort of working us up to this point. Alright, so this one has all the steps to it. So we're going to start with the LCD, which is k plus 5. Right, I'm going to balance this. So again, if I wasn't clear, you have to combine this into one fraction, and you have to combine this into one fraction. If you flip it too soon, you've changed the problem and you're going to get the complete wrong answer. You have to sort of think of this as like nested parentheses. You have to do this. Like if you think of it as order of operations, you have to combine these first. Alright, it looks like the LCD is the same on both sides. That doesn't always happen. Okay, so let's see what we're getting in the numerator fraction. I'm going to distribute the 8. So 8k plus 40 and a minus k over k plus 5. You know what, let's just hang out. Let's just hang out in the numerator of this so I can finish it all the way. 8 minus 1 is 7. So 7k plus 40 over k plus 5. Alright, now I'll go back and do the denominator. Alright, 3k, got to distribute the 5 in here, plus 5k plus 25 over k plus 5. Alright, let's combine the numerator here, so you're going to get 8k plus 25 over k plus 5. Alright, so if some of you know how to reduce at this point, you can reduce it here. I'm just going to work them out the same way so I don't confuse anybody. Alright, now I'm going to convert it to division. Alright, now we're going to do the flip of it. Alright, now we'll reduce. And there was nothing to factor in any of these. Alright, so that's the final answer. Okay, let's see, we're at 8 minutes. Yeah, I guess, let me just see if there's anything maybe a little more that I want to try. Alright, maybe let's just do one more. See if I can squeeze one more in here real quick. I'm just going to write it from the book. I wouldn't give you one this difficult. This format is difficult that it's starting with. It's just some of you might be STEM majors, so this might interest you a little bit. Okay, let me just focus this. Alright, I'm just going to format it, take it out of this format, because this is not how you guys would start it. Let me just make sure I formatted it correctly. I did. Okay, and I got the problem right. Okay. So here, let's just try one more. So the LCD on this one is a squared b. The LCD on the bottom is a cubed. All right, let's balance. So the numerator is going to be 4b plus a squared over a squared b. And again, it's looking weird as heck. Balance the bottom. 1 plus a cubed b over a cubed. Okay, now that it's one fraction over one fraction, that's where we can do the divide part. Alright, so now I'm going to flip this. You know what, let me move it up here. Okay, I'm flipping this guy. So sometimes I don't say it out loud if I do a step in my head and the answer is no. So the step I did in my head was like, I'm like, does anything like common factor, anything here? And I got no. So, but I should say that out loud, that your brain has to go through that process even if the answer is no. You have to see if anything factors or if there's any common factors. All right, so really the only thing that's going to reduce here is 2 A's from both sides. Let's leave us with 1 A here. So there's a lot of leftover. So we've got 1 A left in the top. One B here. Right, and that's as weird looking as heck, but that is the correct answer. Okay, gang, that's it. I'll just do this one video on 8-3 because it really is just a combination of 8-1 and 8-2. The only new step that I'm asking you to do is at the very beginning, you have to combine the fractions first before you flip it. And that's really the only new step. You know how to multiply and divide fractions. You know how to add and subtract fractions. We already learned that. So there isn't much really new in 8.3. All right, that's the end of this video. I'll catch you. Bye-bye.